Good morning, everyone. We just filmed some sick drone roof shots in our garage with our Lamborghini yachts. It's a brand new car. They haven't released it. But today we're going to be talking about influencer marketing, hence the introduction right there, and some of the misconceptions and myth regarding it. I've often talked about the brand side of things or the agency side of things. But I haven't often really talked about the influencer side. So I looped in, of course, Amanda, our head of social media. And so for me, probably one of the biggest myths is the question of what is an influencer? What is a thought leader? There's a notion that you have to have, millions of followers across all your social media platforms to be an influencer. In reality, you can have a following of about 100, 200 people, but if that's a loyal consumer base, if you have influence on those individuals, you're no different than an influencer at a large level, and sometimes it's even more impactful. Amanda, what's another myth that you might add?
I don't know. Yeah, definitely that you need to have multiple followers is definitely a myth, because I think you can be an influencer in a group of like 5 people standing around you.
Yeah.
It just depends on how you hold yourself and what you promote and who you are. And if you can put that on social media and bring on a following of however many, like thousands, millions, whatever, it depends on how you hold yourself and what you promote.
And I think the community building aspect is another myth. There's this notion that you just have to produce like the dopest content out there and then just let the people roll in. But in reality, in the early stage of building up your following, you need to be adequate about building the community, responding to all your comments, responding to all your DMs, going out and engaging with other influencers. That's going to be key. And oftentimes that is equally as impactful as the content you produce. So understand, you are not a movie. You can't just release it and expect people to flock to the fucking theaters to watch your show. You got to do some ground game, whatever. Then maybe you'll become influencer, more movie status. Is there any other myth that you might add that is oftentimes overlooked?
Something like content and influencer-wise, influencers definitely base their content off of other influencers and take ideas,
Yes.
or like, use someone else's like content. But something also like becoming an influencer is becoming really creative and creating your own thing, so then other people can follow you. That's also a giant reason of why you're called an influencer, is because you are influencing other creators, not just your followers.
Yeah, and I think that's an incredible point. So many influencers really don't develop it from their own like internal message and what they want to promote. They're just looking at what other people do and then kind of copying it and changing styles. And look, there's nothing wrong with like learning from others and implementing some of those tactics, but the foundational core of what you do needs to stem from yourself. And if it doesn't, it's not going to have the authenticity that is required to be a modern day influencer. So, moral of the story, being an influencer, developing influence, it's not as easy as it looks. And some of the most important elements are not just the content you produce, not copying from the existing playbook out there. So if you want to be an influencer, of which you are, if you have a single friend, start doing these things today, apply these tactics, and start building up your own influence.